Oh, good. We're happy to have you really with us today to get to understand about retirement because, like I said, this is one of the things that we'd rather not talk about, or even if we're talking about it, it's like, okay, you know? So let's just start with the first things first. When we talk about retirement, what exactly does that mean? Because I've had a lot of people say, me, I want to retire by 40. And someone else says, maybe at 60, you know, the retirement age in the country is around, what, 60, 65? 60. So it's like, but I still have time. So when we say retirement, what exactly does that mean?
Thank you, Winnie. Yes, you're right. Everyone has a perception about retirement. Everyone has a desire of when they would want to get into retirement. And the truth of the matter is that everyone retires from something. Sure. Everyone works for either you're working for someone because you're employed, or you're working for self because you have a business establishment. So without a doubt, everyone retires from something. Okay. And everyone has desires of how they want to retire and when they want to retire. The perception about retirement for someone like me who is employed would be totally different from the perception about retirement for someone like perhaps an athlete. True. Because in their context, retirement will be the seizure or the stoppage of what they engage in as far as the economic activity is concerned. For instance, you'll find them talking about my retirement would be when I get to age 38, for example. Usain Bolt retired at I don't know what age, but certainly it wasn't in what we all know as the retirement, age definition of retirement. Yeah. So when we think about retirement, we are thinking about how one transitions from the engagement of an economic activity that generates income for them into a space or an environment that they are no longer engaging in such economic activities for whatever engagement that they would be engaging in. Okay?
It's interesting that you say everybody retires from something. And I think that is the first step to think about retirement. Because I think when we talk about retirement, most of the time we usually think it's for civil servants, where it will get to a point where they will have to retire and all those things. Now the question is then, when do you start planning for retirement? Because a lot of people, and you see, the first thing I posted the question that is, do you have a plan for retirement? The first thing that someone said to me is, it's too early. You know, it is way too early. Yeah. So the question is when?
Yeah, it certainly happens. And most of the times, especially for guys who are freshly getting into employment or just started doing something to generate income, retirement seems a discussion and a topic that they want to think about way later into their years of employment. There is a school of thought that believes that when we should start saving for retirement should be as soon as you get your first income. If it's employment, as soon as you get your first salary. There are those who think, and if it's in business, as soon as you get your first paycheck. If it's, there's the alternative school of thought that thinks that you should start saving for retirement as soon as you get to learn about retirement savings and what retirement savings is about. Okay. But ultimately, I think, and we share this in this thought in a number of schools of thought, that you should start saving for retirement as soon as you are in a position to be able to take advantage of the power of compounding. Because retirement is really, it's a phase. It's about getting there more than being there. And as you get there, you want to think about how much resources do you have? And part of the very important resource is time. So it is beneficial for you who learns about it at a very early stage and does something about it and takes action towards it.
The earlier the better.
Yes, so it is best for you to start saving and planning and even doing something about retirement saving as soon as you can take advantage of the power of compounding. Because retirement benefits pretty much operate on or compounding interest basis, or compounding income basis. Okay? So for that would mean if you are in, for example, you just started your job, you're a young adult, you've just started receiving your first salary.
Yeah, the
then
excitement that comes with the same.
Yes, and that's
Yeah.
hence the reason why you find that a number of young people, they don't want to think about retirement because they feel that it's just about to deny me an extra income that I would be spending in other things.
Yeah. Okay, so the earlier the better. I like that. Yeah, don't think about it at the was it? No, the earlier you do it, the better.
Yeah.
And then the question is then why? Why should you plan for retirement? Why should you actually save for retirement?
Sure. Usually I say that a retirement plan or a retirement savings product should be set up or it should be bought by the young because it will certainly be used by the old.
Oh, wow.
So when I'm young, I am in a position to be able to get in a retirement savings arrangement, but I can only be able to use that when I get in an advanced age. In advanced age. So why it is important to establish a retirement savings plan is because there are quite a number of things and uncertainties that we face as we go through life, part of which includes the uncertainty of resources in the later years of our life. Life is pretty much clustered in three major phases. The first phase is the infancy stage, where you're pretty much growing all the way to the age of about 15 years. It is the knowledge acquisition phase. So that is a phase in which you are totally dependent.
Okay.
Then we have the second phase, which is the active phase. From now in Kenya, we are recognizing age 18
yes.
to about 64 years. That is deemed to be the active phase of life. And then you have the final phase, which is the retirement phase.
Okay.
It is what you do during your active phase of life that will determine how comfortable your life becomes in your later ages, after the age of 65 years pretty much, and thereafter. So it is important for you to start thinking well in advance about how your life will look like in years after you cease active engagement in income-generating economic activities.
Okay.
As I said, remember, it is all dependent on how much resources you have and key among them being time.
Absolutely.
So why it is important to think about that, the uncertainties I'm alluding to, key among them is the risk or the possibility that you will live longer than anticipated after the age of 65.
Okay.
The general life expectancy now is in the region of about 6 years, if I'm not wrong, in Kenya. And the life expectancy at age 65, that is when you're at 65, how long you're expected to live, will be well within the region of about 30 years. Okay. Of course, because of the advancement of medicine and technology.
That's true.
So because you have a whole 30 years that you will be living without an income, then there is all the reason why you need to think about that phase and how, where will your sources of income come from during that phase of life.
Yeah.
Yeah.
In